Okay, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. I've been up since 5:15. I've been running around, getting showered, getting shaved, gathering my things, and it's officially time. Wild, also known as the Rolling Explorer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm taking you guys behind the scenes of day 2 at London Fashion Week, where I not only modeled in a runway show, but also attended one of the coolest events of the entire week. Let's go. I have eaten, I have deodorized, and I have sprayed my lucky One Direction Our Moment spray because it is my moment and I'm about to have such a good time. If you watched episode 1 of this series, then you already know I have a strong dislike of the London bus system. And honestly, that dislike only grew over this week. But luckily, at 6-something a.m. in the morning, this bus route was still working because within a few hours, it wouldn't be anymore. Okay, y'all, I just got here and it's already chaos and I love it. It's such a good energy, it's such a good vibe. Let's do this thing. In typical Jess fashion, I arrived at the location 22 minutes early because I always leave with plenty of extra travel time in case I get lost, which happens regularly, or in case the transport is weird. Luckily, I only got a little lost that morning because I had just been at the church the night before for my fitting, so that was really helpful. But even with arriving 22 minutes early, within probably 60 seconds of getting into the backstage area, I was grabbed and plopped into a chair to get ready for the show. So pretty early on when I was getting my hair done, I noticed that there was a wonderful little tinted can of hairspray sitting in front of me. And I just want to put this little anecdote in here because I find it really funny. Because the night before, I'd actually asked Sarah as I was doing my fitting, hey, just out of curiosity, what's the hair and makeup situation for tomorrow? Just like, because I was curious, right? And she told me, oh, it's gonna be super clean, super natural. And I'm like, oh, cool, like, that's a vibe. The actual vibe of the look that ended up happening was much different than clean and natural, but it was so epic. And as you can see, I was slightly nervous about it in the moment. My hair is pink. It's pink. But I totally ended up falling in love with it. It was such a vibe, and it's something that I feel like maybe I'll try again on my own at some point. At the time of recording this video, I've been modeling for only about a year and a half, so I'm still quite new to the industry, and I don't know if it's because I'm an awkward person or because I'm still new in my career or what it is, but I still feel like I am so awkward everywhere that I go. I don't know if that's something that I'll grow out of as a performer. I don't know if that's something that is just a part of who I am and I need to embrace the awkward, but like just sitting here and watching myself sit in that makeup chair, I feel like I look like a little like child that's sitting there like, what am I doing? Because I was probably actually sitting there thinking, what am I doing? That's also probably due to the overwhelm of the magnitude of the situation as well, because like, it's London Fashion Week. It's such a freaking big deal, and I'm sat here having a lot of time to my own inner thoughts, which for someone with anxiety can be a very dangerous place to be. Another important thing to note about how the hair and makeup process goes at a runway event is there's usually a key or a head point person that all of the other makeup artists and hairdressers turn to in terms of they're the lead on this runway, on this show, on this event. Meaning that all looks have to be approved by this head honcho person. So here where you see me getting my picture taken backstage, it's not for any other reason than the makeup artist that did my makeup needs to check with their boss, essentially, if they did it correctly. And actually the makeup artist that did my makeup the first time didn't do it the exact same way as the point person. And I'm talking like this was very minute differences. The people in the audience versus where we were on the runway probably wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. But at the end of the day, that's not the point. The stylist and the designer have come up with this look that they want each model to have. So the point person came in and made some minor touch-ups to my face just to make sure that I was exactly the same as everyone else.
Hey. How are you feeling?
Nervous. I'm very hungry. Of course I am. Why bruise on it. Eating bananas on camera always makes me really self-conscious.
Give me the skin. Give me that. No, not out of your mouth, you weirdo.
Here are my 2 different looks. I loved them so much. Oh my gosh, they looked so good on, and they're made so well. They just made me so happy to look at them and remember this day. I wanted to take a moment to appreciate my off-duty model look because I think I look pretty good. In this clip, I'm actually adjusting my ankle on my prosthetic. It might be a little hard to tell, but anytime I change shoes, the shoe can be at a different height. So this allows me to wear high heels if I want, platforms, gym shoes, you name it, I can probably wear it as long as the heel isn't too high. And for the boots I was wearing, there wasn't really a heel, but I tried on heels at the fitting the night before. So I just had to flatten it out, which is not as simple to do as it might sound. Getting it at the exact, precise, right angle is not an easy task. And being off literally by a hair can affect both my gait and the safety of my walking. So we had to get it precise. Once I thought I got it into the right position, I did a little test strut, which is what you see here. I was feeling my fierce self. And I feel like this is where things really started to ramp up. We were about, I don't know, an hour before showtime at this point, which might sound like a long time still, but in fashion, in runway, in events and performance, it's not a long time. An hour is like stress zone to the max. And we hadn't even started rehearsals yet. So they gathered all of us out into the church and started telling us exactly what was gonna go down. Essentially, the goal was for the show to last about 15 minutes, which when you're in it, feels like maybe 3. For the show, we were broken up into different groups of 3. Some of us went out twice, some people went out 3 times. It kind of just depended on what outfits you were modeling. I myself was set to go out twice in 2 different outfits. So that meant I had 2 groups of 3. And for one of those groups, I was person number 1, which wasn't really that much more stress, but it was just like another thing that you have to think about when you're performing and when you're in the moment. In my second group, I was the second person, so much less stress there. Actually, a little anecdote from the first runway. I ended up being person number 3 in my second grouping instead of person number 2 because I was literally like 2 seconds too late after my quick change. I was like struggling to get my hand in the glove properly. And so they sent like person number 3 before me, which ended up being fine. At the end of the day, it didn't really matter, but it was just like one of those things that I was incredibly embarrassed about. But when you're dealing with disabled people and when you're dealing with people in general, like that's just how it is sometimes, and we roll with the punches. So after rehearsal, it was right back into the hair chair. They had to put some more pink in my hair. They had to make it a little bit more rat's nesty, or as they said, the just had sex hair. So that was what they were doing to me here. We had a few more makeup touch-ups, and then it was pretty much time to go. It was showtime. It was time to make our move, make the disabled presence known, and just have a great freaking time. I respect the hell out of Sarah Regensberger because she is truly changing the face of fashion. She didn't just include me in her runway show. There were at least 6 disabled models on the catwalk with me. 6 of 13. That's literally half. That's half! Plus the diversity in other areas, including sexuality, age, skin color, was phenomenal. It was a runway show that I've like never seen before and always wanted to. And I'm just so excited and really hope that other brands take note, see this, and are like, yes, that's what I want to do next year. That's what I want to do moving forward, because that is the future. And I'm just so excited and so honored and so freaking grateful to be a part of it because it literally meant the world to me to be out on that runway. And this runway was a celebration of fashion, but it was also a celebration of diversity. And I think the way in which we did the runway is a true testament to that, because not only did we get to strut our stuff, but we each had a moment up on stage where we got to move in a way that felt natural to us. Sarah really stressed that. She's like, whether you interact with the people up on stage with you, whether you do your own thing and just do what you do, vibe with the music that was playing and just be yourself. Show off the clothes in a way that's authentic to you. And that is a message I want to support. That is something rebellious, as Sarah would say, and that is something truly, truly forward thinking, in my opinion. And I cannot wait to see more people take notice and more people follow suit very, very soon. We did the runway through twice, once at 11 o'clock and then once again at noon. In between the two shows, we had about 30 to 35 minutes to get ready. Made myself sick. As a woman with a chronic illness, I have a stomach condition that makes me feel nauseous regularly, but usually it's caused by food or stress. And honestly, I think because of all the adrenaline I had coursing through my body, after that first runway, once we came off and I sat down for a second, I felt incredibly nauseous. I was like on the verge of puking for the entire second show. I must have looked terrible too, because when I was about ready to go out for my group 2, person 2 moment of the second show, the stylist came up to me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I like was trying not to vomit at the time and was just like, no, no, I am not. But I was told by several people that nobody could tell that I was sick, which I'm very, very grateful for, because that would have been so horrifying, so freaking horrifying. But it's fine, I made it. We survived. There was no spew on the runway, off the runway. It was okay. It was just a really intense bout of nausea, and all I can say is thank freaking God for ginger ale. Once the second runway was done, I hung around for a bit and mingled with some people in the audience, some people who were in the show with me, including the iconic Sophie Butler. Absolutely love her. I've loved her for forever, so it was so freaking cool to share the runway with somebody as amazing and trailblazing as she is. And that was it. We said our goodbyes and started our way home to prepare for our next event, which was, I believe, at 5:30 that evening. Keep in mind, it was about 2 p.m. at this point, so we had, what, 3.5 hours again to get ready for the next event? Surely that should be enough time, right? Wrong. As you probably know, Her Majesty the Queen unfortunately recently passed away. And this caused a lot of chaos around the whole UK, but definitely in the fashion world. But the way that it most impacted me and my London Fashion Week experience was in the transport system. This subject is gonna come back in episode 4 of this series, so stay tuned for that. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but let's just say this journey that should have taken about 45 minutes ended up taking 2 hours. It was stressful. That's the whole point. And because this journey made both myself and my PR manager, Mary, so exhausted and so grumpy, we literally debated whether or not we were going to go to the events that we were invited to attend that evening or not. Because ultimately, neither of us thought we were going to be at our best, and we knew we had 2 more full days of Fashion Week that we had to be prepared for. We had to be on our A game for. And so we were just like, is it worth it? And it 100% was. Our second event of the day was the Helen Kirkham presentation, and guys, this was probably my favorite event that I attended at Fashion Week. I can't compare it to the runway because that was its own experience as we've just gone through, but I can compare it to the other events. And while other things that I attended were amazing, and we'll get to those, this one just took the accessibility, the presentation, the art to the next level. And honestly, it was so freaking cool.
This is like a whole operation. I love it. The drama. You've got like a whole fucking security team going on.
I don't know what's going on.
I love it.
I am cool.
Celebrity.
Mary was 100% right in saying that they treated me like a celebrity because they did. They 100% did. From the minute I rolled out of my cab, there was an entire like security team there and waiting for my arrival so that they could take me the accessible route through to the event. Now, obviously, I know this wasn't because I'm an actual celebrity, but it felt good as a disabled person to be so well taken care of and have people actively thinking about accessibility and treating it in such a serious fashion.
Very good. Right.
I don't know what I did. Yeah, I'm fine. I hope the elevator's fine.
So, we're just going to be waiting for our chariot to come down.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've ever been in one of these things before.
What is it? No. What is this?
So we will transfer you into the other chair,
Okay.
and then it takes you up the stairs.
Okay.
Then our challenge will be then to take your wheelchair. Is that possible?
Yes, it is. I'm going to set it up so it's easier for you. So you can manually push it a little bit so you can get it right to the step.
Okay.
They're here. I just have to find them. I'm sorry.
What is it that you're looking for?
These. There's one on the other side too. You just twist that.
Are they just, does it disconnect from the drive then?
Yeah, so when it's off, then you can manually push it instead of having to pick it up from the pole from here all the way to the stairs.
The seat belt.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You want to explain then how it's
Yes.
going to-
So it's going to begin like a small roller coaster.
Excellent.
No. So we'll just dip you back a little bit, and then as you reach the stairs, you'll be in a seated position as you are now.
Yeah.
And that's it. You'll climb nicely up, and we'll go to the ring.
Okay.
At first, it may seem as if you were in a dentist chair, because you tip back like that. But then when you start to go up the steps, then you'd be sitting like this. So it's the first one. You go, oh, okay, what's going on? And then it levels up. All right?
Yeah.
Don't be serious.
I
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Tip you back up.
Oh, this is like roller coaster.
Cool.
Yeah. I didn't know something like this existed. This is so cool.
No, that's all right.
Okay. I'm not actually panicking, just a little bit.
How was it?
Back up.
That was really freaking cool. Like, really freaking cool.
And we'll get your shirt.
They told me it's based off of. I'm in the seat. But they told me that Wally was based off of this thing that does this, and that's like cool. I've never seen Wally, but like I
Have
know
you not? It's such a good film. You should watch it.
future stuff makes me nervous. But, like everybody, this is a lot. I'm very like,
Yay!
yay! Thank
Glad
you.
we came.
Thank you, BFC. As amazing as this experience was, and as cool as it felt to have a security detail of sorts and be treated like a celebrity, I do just need to say this because I say it on my social media all the time, I say it on my blog all the time, and I pretty much say this to anybody who will listen and on any platform that I've been privileged enough to get to share my story and my experience. And that is that true accessibility enhances independence. This stair lift was really freaking cool, and I got a whole backstage tour, which I would not have gotten had I just entered the same way as everybody else. But I couldn't have done any of that without the security team, without other people's help. I couldn't have done it on my own. So even though I thought this was exceptional and really cool and really fun and a really cool story to share and tell, it's not the ideal. It's not the goal. It's a solution. And sometimes we have to accept solutions in our advocacy work. Sometimes solutions are the only option. And at the end of the day, without solutions, we're never gonna get to the ideal. So I'm very grateful for this solution. And again, thought it was really cool. I mean, did you see that thing and how it moved? I've never seen anything like that before. Let's get some wheelchairs that do that are reasonably priced, and then we'll talk. Getting into the event was only half of the fun. The entire Helen Kirkham presentation was so beautifully executed. They had a live band on site that had a rock/alternative sound that was really haunting. Not to mention, the whole room was drowned in a bright red light. In my opinion, this was an incredibly artistic way to depict the dire situation we have landed ourselves in as a society who values consumerism, who values capitalism, and who is constantly wasting materials in our love of fast fashion. This entire presentation acted almost like a wake-up call to the fashion industry, while also highlighting Helen Kirkham's brand new palimpsest sneakers. The definition of palimpsest is as follows: something reused or altered but still bearing visible traces of its earlier form. The palimpsest sneakers are made of recycled material. These sneakers are designed in a way that brings Helen's style to the forefront while still paying tribute to the sneaker's original base form. The palimpsest shoe is a perfect symbol of the future of fashion. It's made to order, it's sustainable, and it's so sleek. I thought it was beautiful, and I was really, really honored to be invited to this event. Sarah and her PR agency, The Pop Group, loaned me 2 amazing pieces that I got to wear throughout my time at Fashion Week. And the cactus leather coat that I'm sporting at the Helen Kirkham show was truly incredible. I didn't introduce him before, but Tim is the older gentleman you see with me in some of these clips, and he works with the British Fashion Council. He was genuinely such an amazing personality. Considering how exhausted and tired and grumpy both myself and Mary were before we got to the Helen Kirkham presentation, he completely flipped our moods within seconds of meeting him. He was just so caring and so accommodating and so friendly. Kindness like that needs to be talked about, because that type of service, that type of clear love and joy for your job and for other human beings is so, so important. And in our short time of entering and exiting the building together, Tim really showed me how much of a trailblazer I am in the fashion space by simply showing up to these events. He was properly boosting my ego a little bit, while also telling me about how much he wishes that other disabled people like myself were also attending London Fashion Week. And I, of course, shared the same sentiment, and we bonded over that. And I'm just so grateful that we met him and that he was able to lift me up at a time that I was feeling really stressed. Even after this incredible day where I lived out a lifelong dream, I was still just like not feeling it. I don't know if I was just like overwhelmed or what, but he brought me back into the reality of showing me my purpose and reminded me of how important it is for the progress that I want to see in the world, that I was there, that I was showing up for my community, and that I was helping others see how important it is to invite disabled people to the table. So thank you, Tim. You were truly, truly amazing. And because of you, myself and Mary decided to go to one final event that we had pretty much written off, if I'm completely honest, simply because it started really late, and again, we had had a very long day. And then, we got to the event and it was such a letdown. Now, I'm not here to upset anybody, because that's never my goal, and especially after this incredibly positive video, I don't want to come in here with a bunch of negativity, but I also need to be authentic and real with how the situation went. And the simple way to put it is, this runway just really, really, really was not that accessible. And it's just a shame, because this was in such a beautiful location. These designers obviously work very hard, but I will just say, of all of the events I went to throughout the week, this one was probably the most disappointing in terms of accessibility. Now, they did have an accessible entrance, and technically they did have a lift that I was able to use, but one, the lift was incredibly small. My wheelchair barely fit in there. Like, I'm talking, I was squished to the max in this thing. I had to move my footrest on my chair to the side in order to get it to go all the way in and against the back wall of the lift. So that's not ideal or like realistic for some wheelchair users at all. And then what's worse is that the way the catwalk was set up was that the entrance for the models was also the exit for the audience. So had there been any sort of emergency, whether you're disabled or not, you wouldn't be able to leave without literally causing a scene. We ended up arriving home really late that night. I'm talking, it was like probably 11 o'clock. But I was so happy because my husband got me a bouquet of flowers and a little note that said, "Congrats on smashing Fashion Week," which was a nice little pick-me-up after kind of a disappointing end to the day. Without getting too emotional, this day literally is one that I will remember for the rest of my life. It was such a surreal experience, and I am forever grateful to be a part of all of it. I cannot wait to show you guys episodes 3 and 4, so if you're not already, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on those future posts. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a little thumbs up and leave a comment below of any questions you have about the experience that I maybe didn't end up getting to cover in this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.